Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Modern Firm. I'm your host, Noah Scher, and today I'm joined by Nicholas Aiola, the founder of Aiola CPA, a 100% virtual CPA firm that specializes in working with real estate investors. Nicholas, I really appreciate you hopping on today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, Noah. I'm really excited to be here.
Likewise. So, Nick, I'd love to dive right in. You've built a fully virtual firm that's carved out a pretty powerful niche in the real estate investment world. Can you walk us through your journey and your background and how Aiola CPA came to be?
Yeah, of course. So real estate's always been an interest of mine. Went to school for accounting and really, ironically, enjoyed tax, and it's something that I always wanted to kind of get into, and just always had that entrepreneurial mindset from the beginning. So I knew that that was a one day, eventual goal, and just always kind of took steps to get there. So right out of school, took tax position at the firm in Manhattan, worked there for a couple of years, and they allowed us to build like our own client book basically from the beginning. So it starts out as family and friends, and over time you start to gain a little bit of traction, you get a little bit more people and more clients, and eventually made the jump to do it full time, and haven't looked back since. So yeah, since then just always knew that real estate was something that I enjoyed personally and wanted to help people who like to do what I like to do.
Yeah.
And built a team around that, and now we help real estate investors, throughout the country.
Totally. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. So I know you drew to real estate investors. Was there anything that made you choose that? Like, is there anything that maybe varies when you're serving a real estate client compared to other different types of clients when it comes to, tax planning and strategy and that sort of thing?
Yeah, really good question. I grew up in real estate. I have family that does real estate, and just self-education, just always being interested in investing from like a young age, and just seeing the powers that you can gain from real estate through cash flow, through appreciation. Any strategy really has its benefits. And then working in that firm in Manhattan, I was able to see different industries because they were not specialized. So I was able to see different clients in different industries, and how their investments worked or didn't work. And it was very clear to see that real estate investors had the best wealth building and generational wealth building strategies, and how powerful it could be if you made the right investments with the right tax planning. So for me, we deal with a lot of clients who are high income, high net worth, have families, and want to consider passing down assets, and they're interested in generational wealth and retiring early, living off passive income. Real estate checks all these boxes, and it's very tax advantaged as long as you do it the right way. So our role in the process is to be able to understand the complex inclusions in the tax code that pertain to real estate, and then apply them to each individual person's situation based on their goals, their investment strategy, their properties, their timeline. So it keeps things interesting, and it is truly different for everybody. So yeah, it just made the most sense because you can really see the power of the and the benefits of real estate, both cash flow and appreciation long term.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, real estate's very well known that it's one of the best ways to preserve
Yeah.
wealth on long term. Really random question. Every single real estate guy that I speak with and that is in the real estate world, they all love Monopoly for some reason. Do you share that? I think it's like the foundation of where it started.
Yeah, if you have patience, it's a great game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
So Nick, I know you work a lot with, investors who probably come to you after making tax mistakes and, are all jumbled and
Yeah.
need your help. So what are some of the most common mistakes that you see and, how do you help them stay compliant and while also keeping what they earn as well?
You're right. We see a lot of mistakes. Mistakes come in two, I guess, two main categories. You have accounting and bookkeeping mistakes, and then you have tax mistakes. So what we see on the accounting and bookkeeping side mostly is that just people just don't keep accurate sets of books. They don't reconcile they don't use accounting software. They don't reconcile their accounts. They're not monitoring their financials, their balance sheet, their P&L, statement of cash flows. They don't have a good handle on their own financials. So when it comes to tax time, it's very easy to leave off tax deductions or misrepresent some income or expenses, especially if you have entities and you've done your asset protection and entity structuring, and you may have partnerships and other types of entities. It becomes crucial to make sure that you're accurately tracking your ins and outs and monitoring your financials. On the tax side, we see a ton of mistakes just because, the tax code is like 80,000 pages and growing. And, real estate is a portion of it. So we don't expect, nobody knows the tax code. If anybody tells you that they do, they're not being truthful. So we know real estate, and other CPAs don't. They may know another area, but if somebody who isn't as familiar with real estate is doing real estate tax prep, often we see mistakes, missed depreciation, no allocation to land, incorrectly reporting rental properties, short-term rental properties on Schedule C versus Schedule E or vice versa, misrepresenting flips and misreporting flips. There could be
A million
various
things.
mistakes. Yeah, and the thing with real estate, especially if you're a buy and hold investor, these issues compound because you're carrying over data from one year to the next. So if you make a mistake in year one, that mistake is going to present itself in year two and year three and year four for as long as you hold the property. It's really important to get it right at the beginning.
Yeah, do you see clients that maybe, haven't had proper tax planning and then maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, do you ever see like those mistakes starting to compound and pile up or
Absolutely. Yeah, it costs them time, it costs them money, it costs them tax dollars, and we could fix it, but it's expensive to do so because you're going backwards and you have to track years worth of data at that point and correct it on your filing or amend returns. So it's costly, it's time consuming, it could create additional audit risks. So it's better to, we always ask clients, what's your opportunity cost? Do you want to file with somebody who maybe isn't an expert in real estate and then potentially have to fix this down the road? And what would that cost you? Again, in terms of time and money versus doing it right from the beginning. So yeah, we try to actively help clients plan for that and understand what's on the table or what could be left on the table.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's actually what I was about to say is that's what I like about your approach is you guys, make these very complex tax strategies, especially within the real estate game. I mean, there's, like you said, a billion different things that could go wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys make them simple for your clients. And so I'd like to ask you, what does that look like? And, what's your mindset when it comes to client communication and breaking down these complex ideas into like things they can actually understand, right? Because I'm sure that they may be great at the real estate investment side of things, but you're the expert in
Sure.
the tax. And so how do you kind of get that through their head?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it's a fine line. We're rooted in education. We want people to understand what it is we're doing and why it's important. That way they can look at their tax returns and see the benefits and the value that we have or their investments have brought them. And they understand their business, most importantly, so they can see what's working and what isn't, especially if they're investing and looking to live off these investments. That's very important. But also we understand that clients do want to they're hiring us to not have to think about this fully, so we take the difficulty out of it, but we want to make sure that you understand what's going on. So when we approach it from a tax planning perspective, our role is to provide the client options. We say this is what's available to you. This is how you can save taxes or how you can better your tax situation. Here are the risks associated with it. Here are the pros and cons. Here are the options available to you. Ultimately, it's always the client's decision to make on to do or not to do something, but it's our role to make sure it's an informed decision.
Mhm.
Do you have all the tools you need to make a decision that's right for you and your family? And that's how we approach tax planning. So the goal is really to help clients understand the intricacies of tax planning and apply it to their specific situation, which resonates
Yeah.
because people are living their situation. So it's easy to pick and choose certain tax applications and implications to their own situation.
Yeah, no, I like that approach, especially because a lot of people, especially small business owners and investors, they hate their accountant because of the typical, they just give their reports and walk away. But I like that you guys are trying to get them to understand and being able to make like an educated decision based on those reports. And so
Yeah,
Nick,
it's
what
a
would you
big
say?
difference. Sorry to cut you off. I
Oh,
was just
no
going to
worries.
say it's a big difference. If you're working with your CPA and you only talk to them once a year to do tax prep, you can't expect great tax saving results out of that because tax prep happens after the year is over.
Yeah.
It's too late. So unless you're talking with your CPA throughout the year proactively, most people do have that relationship with their CPA that they talk with them after the year's over to do tax prep. And it's like, oh, my CPA is telling me I owe this amount of taxes. I really don't want to deal with that again.
Hmm.
And they don't talk to them for another year. But how you avoid that is talking with your CPA throughout the year, proactively planning.
Yeah.
That way you're not hit with a surprise bill and it's not a pain to go through tax prep, in the spring.
Exactly. Yeah. Nick, what would you say is your approach at Iowa CPA that differentiates you guys from, maybe other CPA firms that adhere to real estate investors?
A good question. We are very individualized, and I feel like that's really important. A lot of times you see firms out there who are offering cookie cutter strategies and approaches that it's like a take it or leave it, and it may not benefit you, and they don't really do a cost benefit analysis. So, as part of our onboarding process, we're asking you, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? What's your investing strategy? What's your timeline, path to retire, if that's what you're looking to do? And we tailor these tax strategies to you and your specific needs and your specific situation. So from what we've heard anyway, that clients have come to us, I can't speak to how other firms do it, but from what we've heard is that other firms have taken more of a blanket one size fits all approach with a list of strategies that may not even apply to the people or may not interest them. So we truly hear the clients, what they want to do and what they're looking for, what their pain points are, and try to solve it for them specifically. I think that's an important differentiator.
Yeah, no, that's a great approach. And maybe that blanket approach might have worked, 10, 15 years ago, but in this market,
Yeah.
everyone wants to be personalized and to have like a specific tailored thing for themselves, which is fair. Matt. So Nick, I know that, running a 100% virtual firm, um, isn't easy, unless you have like tight systems in place. And so what tools or processes do you guys rely on to be able to smoothly deliver, great service to all your clients, no matter where they're at?
Yeah, I think having systems and processes is imperative. A team that's willing to utilize them and also being adaptive to change. You can't be resistant to change in a virtual world. Technology is changing by the second and you have to adapt. So yeah, we are totally virtual. There is no office, so our team is spread out across the country. Our clients are spread out across the country. We operate in different time zones. So you need systems in place. And we have a pretty long software and tech stack. So we're constantly changing things. Just this past year, heading into 2025, we changed the entire process for tax prep, just to try to make things smoother. And that's constantly something that I'm involved with the team with is, what's working, what isn't, how can your life be easier, what's a task that you're doing repeatedly that you wish you didn't have to do. These are conversations that we're having. That way I can try to find better solutions to make everybody more efficient and more effective
Yeah.
also.
No, totally. That's a huge part of what sets great virtual firms apart. The back end, it
Mhm.
can make or break the client experience. And so I like that
Yeah,
approach.
and our team's great. Like they're always so supportive, and that they're honest and will always give you great feedback, and you can tell they care, and that's really important. That's the culture that we're trying to build, is a team who is working for each other in addition to the client, because we need each other. There's no one person doing everything.
Mhm.
So we do rely on the systems, but no system is designed for one single person. It's designed to make the whole machine run well.
Yeah.
So I am really grateful. We're lucky to have such a good team.
Wait, what's your guys' team size right now? And were you guys looking to, grow 3, 5 years down the line? What are your plans for that?
Good question. We are in growth mode. So right now we're 13, but if we did this interview in a month, we'd probably be closer to 17. So we're hiring, and looking to bring on new people, expand multiple facets of the business. So for me, it's always cautious because we want to look for the right fit. We want to make sure that we're working with people and bring on people who share the same vision and passion and goal of putting the client first that we do. So, it is great being virtual in the sense that we can open up the hiring pool to the entire country, but also we're selective. So control growth is important to me. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew. And we want to make sure that we have enough people that way no one's burnt out and we can still deliver the same quality of service to the client. So
Yeah.
it's been a good goal setting year for us. That's something that we've done this year and started this year, is set goals for the firm, set goals for each department, each individual. So yeah, I think the next 3 to 5 years will be fun. We're still foot on the gas and just looking upward.
Yeah, totally. And why would you not be selective, right? If you're in a certain
Yeah, yeah.
geographical area, then yeah, maybe you have to be based on a certain
Hmm.
amount of applicants. But when you're remote, you
Right.
could go anywhere and find the best talent. So that's a,
Hmm.
a nice pro to that.
For sure.
Nick, so do you have any like client success story that you want to share that like resonates with you? Just
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my approach as an advisor is to look for meaningful ways to save taxes. If you Googled how do I save taxes, you're going to see the same like 10 things on these blog posts that'll say, contribute to your retirement, contribute to charity, contribute to your HSA, defer income, all these things that are great. But for the type of clients that we deal with who are high net worth, high income earners, these are very small, and relatively speaking, very small adjustments to their bottom line,
yeah,
their tax bill. So we're looking for meaningful reductions. And when you look at it like that, and also that we also look for ways that are, we don't want you to spend money to get the deduction on an expense or a liability. For example, if you're spending $1 to save 50 cents, economically, you're still out. the other 50 cents at the end of the year. So we're looking for ways where you can invest money and have that money earn you more money while simultaneously resulting in a big tax deduction, which is what makes real estate so powerful. So we're looking at acquisitions through like short-term rental, the short-term rental tax loophole
Mhm.
or tax strategy or real estate professional status. And these are two of our most common tax strategies that we discuss with our investors. And we've saved clients six figures in taxes on a single purchase. It's all about the structure of the investment and the structure of your time, the structure of your books, the structure of your records. It's that's what we ironically structure our engagement on is making sure that everybody else has the right framework and the right blueprint to not only hit the criteria needed to qualify for these strategies, but also maintain books and records and everything that they need to pass an audit if they are audited. And we have represented several clients in audits with these strategies, and we've won them all so far. So we're comfortable in these strategies. We know what the auditors ask us. We know how to keep records. We know how to advise clients to prepare for it. So yeah, I mean, we have several clients who are getting 5 to 6 figure tax savings consistently implementing these strategies.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, this is all by the book, and that's the thing. If you know how to read the tax code, you know how to plan appropriately. So, the way we view the tax code is as a set of incentives. The government is telling you where to put your money to gain tax benefit. So, if you follow those steps, the path is right there. It's
Yeah.
just execution.
And it's totally legal, so why not take
Totally
advantage
legal.
of these loopholes? Like there's no reason not to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
there's no magic pill when it comes to tax planning. So we have to, again, we provide the options, but it's up to the client and the investor to actually go out and execute the plan. So things take either time or capital to make tax reduction happen. But if you're willing to put in the effort and you're willing to make investments, and that's something that aligns with your personal goals, then it's a great marriage for tax planning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Nick, I'll give you a little background on myself leading into this next
Yeah,
question.
please.
I come from a line of CPAs and firm owners and accountants, kind of it's like my entire family. So I
Mhm.
naturally went into accounting, got my degree, worked a bunch of internships, and now we're seeing, all these new technologies coming out. And my uncle's a firm owner, and he's, starting to look into all this AI and all the technology and all the buzz that's around that, especially in the accounting world, right? I remember my uncle who's
Yeah.
like, hopefully this doesn't make us obsolete. And like, there's this huge worry and everything. And we told him, like, that's not the case. You just have to leverage it, right? So, what is your take on that? And how do you see, AI and all these new technologies and all this hype affecting the tax and planning and real estate and accounting space, especially for firms, that are focused on real estate like yourself?
Yeah, this is my favorite topic lately. I don't believe AI will be a replacement. I think it's a tool in the tool belt, and if you use it the right way, I think it can immensely help the individuals in the firm and the firm as a whole. We do currently use several instances of AI within the firm, so you have to be cautious of people who are using AI and relying on that for advice. You can go to ChatGPT and say, "What are some good tax strategies for my situation? Here's my tax return. What can I do better?" You can get some answers spit out, but that's a trust but verify situation. You definitely want a professional's eyes on it because I use ChatGPT, we use other AI tax software, and we get wrong answers all the time. So it happens. So you have to know what to look for and how to leverage AI. But we see currently that the most beneficial use of AI for us personally is helping with administrative tasks. It makes things a lot easier and quicker for certain administrative tasks. But yeah, I mean, it's a great research tool to get you a starting point to maybe bring to your CPA and say, hey, I looked up a few things and can you help me through some of these answers or can you verify these answers? That's great for individual clients and investors. But yeah, at the firm, as far as the firm goes, I'm always looking for new software that can help. We use like an AI based portal that helps automatically sort documents when clients upload them for tax prep. We use AI tax research software.
Mhm.
We're looking into other options just to kind of facilitate more administrative delivery of tax returns and things like that. We use AI for signatures and there's a lot of things that we currently use it for, but we're at the infancy of really seeing what this is capable of, and
Yeah.
it's exciting. So we're working on building out like custom GPTs and just everything that you can do to really leverage the tools available to us to make not only our experience but the client experience ultimately better. So yeah, really excited about that.
Yeah, no, I like that you say that, and I actually want to touch on that. I feel like I tell this story every single podcast, but my first ever accounting internship I worked was kind of at the very baby stages of AI, and they gave it to us. I was an intern at the time. They gave it to us, and they were like, "Hey, this is going to implement every single data point into every single tax return, and
Yeah.
you guys won't have to do anything, but we want you guys to check them over, obviously." And so,
Right.
literally, like 75% of all the returns had, multiple mistakes in them, and so we had to go in
Yeah,
and
yeah,
fix them. And
exactly.
so I like that you say that it helps with administrative tasks, certain workflows, but it's never going to get rid of that human, like the decision maker role, right? Because AI doesn't have
Hmm.
conscious, it doesn't have the ability to, analyze a situation fully and like make a judgment call. Yes, it has access to data and like trends and whatnot,
Hmm.
but that can't be applied to every situation. You need someone who knows what the hell they're talking about to be able to make a call, right? So I mean, that's even
100%.
what I do in my business. I'll give you another little side story on myself. I run a business where we help firm owners implement AI or automation into their business. And I tell them every single time, we're not here to automate your entire firm. That's not possible. You're still gonna have to work, right?
Yeah.
We can automate certain things like maybe onboarding or certain administrative tasks or, certain client acquisition, like marketing funnels and whatnot. But when it comes to the actual work, it's not going anywhere. At least I don't think in my lifetime. So
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree. Always going to need somebody to review, especially in the advisory role too. Compliance can be a little bit different because that's more mathematical. Accounting, maybe you can see some higher leverage there from AI, but an advisory relationship, somebody who understands your situation intimately and your specific, again, like I keep saying, your specific goals and investment strategies and everything, you need that personal touch.
exactly. Exactly. Nick, last question for you. This has been a great conversation so far. What is one piece of advice that you would give to, someone who's not even just in the real estate world, but a CPA or an accountant who wants to build their own firm, and has no idea where to start? What's your starting advice to them?
Networking is huge, and that's not only in person, but virtual too. Wouldn't be where I was today without putting myself out there. So I know it's kind of like and also digital footprint. I wish I started this earlier, but just putting content out there and being consistent about it is huge. That's something that we're starting now, all these years in. And man, I can kick myself if I can go back and do that. Then it would be probably a much different conversation today. But networking and putting yourself out there, getting over that hump of talking with people and just saying, hey, this is what I do, and do you know anybody who might need help, or just learning from other people, like-minded people. And I remember I would go to all these real estate meetups and just offer tax tidbits here and there, and eventually just kind of people start to know what you do, and more people start to ask to talk with you. And same thing, like something like this, like a podcast, or you're active on forums. Reddit or Bigger Pockets was huge years ago when I was starting. Just putting yourself out there is very, very helpful. And on the digital side, just content, blog posts, social media posts, engagement on other people's posts, just making yourself known and giving yourself some history and some traction. That way, if you ever decided that you do want to launch your own business, or at least roll into that, kind of like I did, start and then see how it grows. And then at a certain point, make the jump. You at least have something that's started, and you're not starting from scratch, because that's really difficult. If you're jumping right into owning your own firm without any previous engagement or any previous history of building a network or client base, it's hard to succeed.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but it's you're making it harder.
No, great advice. I mean, and that's even why I started this podcast, right? I'm not a professional in everything accounting. I mean, even my
Yep.
dad used to tell me, like, shut up and listen to people and stop thinking that you know anything. And so I bring on people like yourself and firm owners to learn from them and to network, right? It's not, I'm
For
not going to
sure.
sit here and pretend that I know everything. I know nothing compared to most
Same.
people. So that's why I do it even too, right? So you don't have to be an
Mhm.
expert in something to just take the leap, right? Just
Exactly.
take the jump and see where you land.
That's good advice from your dad too. Like, listening is another great one. Like, never want to be that saying, like, you never want to be the smartest person in the room. Like, other people always have things to say that you may not know. And I mean, I make mistakes every day, and I certainly don't know everything. So always trying to learn, always trying to listen, and just find out where you never know who can help you or who you can help.
Exactly. Or who you'll randomly run into one day that'll change everything. So totally.
Yep. Yep.
Nick, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for hopping on. For the folks who want to, learn a little bit more about you or reach out regarding Aiola CPA or anything, where's the best place to find you at?
Yeah, awesome. It really was a great conversation. No, thank you. Yeah, so you guys can find us on our website, iolacpa.com, AIOLACPA.com. As I just mentioned before, we're starting to roll out some content. So there'll be more activity on our social channels, all under the same name, Aiola CPA. We have a newsletter that just has some tax tips and some real estate market insights and whatnot. That's monthly, so you can subscribe to that on our site. Just be on the lookout for more to come.
Totally. Yeah. We'll link everything in the show notes. And for any real estate investor who is scrambling with where they're at and needs someone to clear their books and to kind of guide them on the straight path, please reach out to Nick and he'll help you guys out. Thank you, Nick, so much.
Thanks, Noah.
Of course.